Hi everyone, it's Jules and welcome to Jules Reads. In these videos, these weekly updates, which by the way, today is Father's Day. It's June 16th. It is Sunday of 2024. So happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Yeah, so in these videos, I like to talk about any books that I finished this week, which I do have 4 finally to talk about. Any books that I'm currently reading. I'm in the middle of 5 books right now. Any books I hauled, I just have 1 that was a gift. And then any sort of things that I watched on TV or movies, any sort of plans that I did this last week, and any plans coming up. So just a little bit of personal stuff. So let's get started with the books that I finished. It's definitely going on my top favorites of the entire year, and it might be one of my favorites, if not the favorite of the entire year. And it is The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell by Robert Dugoni. And this reminded me of my reading experience with The Heart's Invisible Furies. So this is about a boy, his name is Sam Hill, and he is born with red pupils, and he ends up being bullied in school. So definitely some trigger warnings for bullying. There is some pretty hard scenes in it regarding that. And it is a coming of age story and him kind of overcoming the bullying, and he becomes an ophthalmologist. It's very quickly in the book that you learn that, which is interesting. And it's about him and his best friend. I think his name is Ernie. And it's just, oh, it warmed my heart. And it's fast chapters, it's fast paced, but yet it's slow and steady so that you're not jolted all the time. And I loved this book. I did cry a little bit in it, not horribly, but I did cry a little bit. And I really think if you just like coming of age stories, good-hearted stories with kind of a good message in it, I think you would enjoy it. And yeah, I loved this so much. And what else do I want to say about it? I guess my only complaint about it was I felt like the ending was a little sped up and quick, but I still loved it. 5 stars, 6 stars, absolutely loved and would recommend to almost anyone. The next book I finished is Kindred, the graphic novel based on the Octavia E. Butler book. And this is a graphic novel. And I liked this. I am glad I had read the book first. I'm just looking at some of the graphics in this are amazing. My biggest complaint about this, so I give it a 4, maybe even a 3.5, and it's only because of the font. It is so small that someone of my age, 49, it is really hard for me to read it. I struggled to read it even with my cheater glasses on. That's my only complaint about it. The graphics are amazing. The story follows very closely to the book, and I know that this is by Damian Duffy and John Jennings. I know they have another graphic novel based on another Octavia E. Butler. I think it's The Parable of the Sower. I don't have that book or the graphic novel, but I liked this. Obviously I would recommend the book first and then doing this, but if you like graphic novels, this is a great one. And then the next book, I actually listened to an audio, and this is my friend's copy that she had lent me, and this is The Women by Kristen Hanna. And this is about a woman that is in service in Vietnam. And so it's about her journey through that and other women in Vietnam as well, serving in Vietnam. And this is a really hard book as far as just heavy, and how the vets are treated when they come back by American citizens. It is just awful. I can't imagine being a vet at that time. And so it's really heavy. I did feel like there was a little bit too much drama, like just one thing after another happened that was bad. So I felt like, okay, let's just ease it down a little bit on the drama. But I did give this, I can't remember if it was a 3 or a 4. I did do the audio, and I believe it's Julia Whalen narrates it, and she's narrated other Kristen Hanna books and does a phenomenal job. I did like the audio version. I did not like this as much as The Nightingale, or I think it's The Four Winds, the other one I read, but I do recommend this if you like Kristen Hanna, or you like historical fiction. And there's just some things I'm sure really took place. There's one scene when they get back from Vietnam during a parade, and something that happens during that, which is just gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching. But I do like this. I like Kristen Hanna as a writer, and I definitely would recommend it for people that like that historical fiction side of things. And then the fourth book that I finished, I am only given 2 stars. And normally a 2-star book I don't even finish, but this one I was so close to the end, and I'm like really realizing how much I did not like it. And it is called One of Us is Dead. And nothing happened. It was just a bunch of rich people, which I am not a fan of stories about the wealthy. So that's on me. But it was just some rich women getting all their manicures, pedicures, spray tans, facials, massages, all of that. And catty. It reminded me of the book and the show. What is it called? The book is called Big Little Lies. I felt very similar to that book. I just feel like nothing much is happening besides a bunch of rich women. So not a fan of this book. I would not recommend it, and I'm only giving it 2 stars. I don't give a lot of 2 stars. Like I said, I just end up not finishing them. But I did finish it. So that is the 4 books that I finished. So that, and I haven't done an update in a couple weeks because the last week I did not finish anything. So I was like, nothing much happened. But I was excited to get actually some progress done with my reading. What I'm currently reading, 5 books. Yeah. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is Braiding Sweetgrass. I'm listening to this on audio. Stunning writing. I already know it's going to be a 6 out of 5 star. I just have a quote. I was out for a walk, and I realized I need to just be listening to this as I'm reading it because there's so many things I want to highlight. So let's see if I can do it justice. This is an Indigenous story about, it's like little essays, and it's nonfiction. Indigenous architecture tends to the small and round, though following the model of nests and dens and burrows and reeds and eggs and wombs, as if there were some universal pattern for home. With our backs leaning against the saplings, we consider this convergence of design. A sphere has the highest ratio of volume to surface area, minimizing the materials needed for living space. Its form sheds water and distributes the weight of a snow load. It is efficient to heat and resistance to wind. Beyond material considerations, there is cultural meaning to living within the teachings of a circle. I tell them that the doorway always faces east, and they quickly assess its utility. Given the prevailing westerly winds, the utility of greeting the dawn is not yet part of their thinking, but the sun will show them. Like, that is every paragraph in this book. It is stunning. I literally get goosebumps listening to it. And this is Robin Wall Kimmerer. I'm horrible at remembering to say the author's name. This is going to be an all-time favorite as well, so I'm excited that I'm in the middle. I just finished one that's going to be an all-time favorite, and now this one. And it says, as a botanist, Robin Wall Kimmerer has been trained to ask questions of nature with the tools of science. As a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, she embraces the notion that plants and animals are our oldest teachers. In Braiding Sweetgrass, Kimmerer brings these lenses of knowledge together to show that the awakening of a wider ecological consciousness requires the acknowledgement and celebration of a reciprocal relationship with the rest of the living world. For only when we can hear the languages of other beings are we capable of understanding the generosity of the earth and learning to give our own gifts in return. All right. The other book I'm reading is James by Percival Everett, and this is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn from Jim's perspective. And this book is bloody brilliant. Let me tell you. I'm only on chapter 2. My husband and I are actually buddy reading this together. So we have 2 copies of this in our house. So we are buddy reading it, which I imagine will go kind of slow. He doesn't read as much as I do, and so I'm just going to kind of keep on the same chapter as he is so we can discuss. And there was an interesting part in here about how the slaves were learning to speak to make the whites still feel superior. So they're kind of like downgrading their language and speech so that the whites still felt superior. And I just was like, what? This is, I mean, it's awful, but it's interesting. So I think this is going to be very enjoyable, but I'm not too far along yet. The other one I've started, which I'm not very far, again, it's The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is my in real life book club, Fight Club, as we're known to be named. And this is our June book for this month. And I'm really enjoying it. So this was, it's a dual timelines. And the first one is Aunt Viv in, I believe it's the 80s, and she disappears. She goes to work at the Sundown Motel and then disappears. And then it's her niece researching her disappearance 30, 40 years later. I'm really enjoying it. I think there's going to be some supernatural stuff in it. It's a mystery thriller. I actually found it in the horror section at Barnes & Noble, and I was like, yes, it's a horror. So, yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm not too far along. Can't say too much about it. And then the 4th book, why do I have 5? Oh, I know. So the 4th book that I'm reading is Outlive, The Science of Art and Longevity by Peter Attia, doctor. And this is nonfiction. My cousin had told me to read this because he's really into longevity and keeping healthy as we age. I'm almost to page 100 and I feel like we haven't even gotten to the point yet. And it's a chunk of chunk. So far I'm just kind of meh about it. I know there's gonna be good information in here. I'm just waiting for that to come. And we're just kind of giving background information still at page 100. So I wish it would just be a little bit faster with its delivery. So that's my experience with that book so far. And then the 5th book, which I actually have. So the 5th book that I am actually decided to listen to, but I do own it, is Stephen King's You Like It Darker. And I'm only into the first, this is a series of short stories, by the way. I'm only in the first story, which I think I'm almost done with it. And I'm loving it. And I have heard that this gets back to kind of Stephen King's roots, like kind of darker, more the horror side than the literary fiction side. But I am liking it. The audio is narrated by Will Patton, and I was like, his voice sounds familiar. And then I realized who he was. He is an actor, well-known actor. He's in one of my favorite shows, Silo. And I'm enjoying his narration of this so far, but I'm only the first story in. Okay, that's a lot of books. Yay, I had an actual update this week. Okay, for books, I hauled. I don't really have any books I want to say I want to read because that stack of 5 is what I want to read. But my husband went on a little trip to Michigan. He went on a motorcycle trip, actually Lake Superior. He went all the way around Lake Superior, like into Canada, back down through Michigan, and then back home into Minnesota. And he bought me a book in Bayfield from a bookshop. Got the bookmark. And he talked, I was like, you're going to buy me a book? I have so many books. You don't know what to buy me? Like I was getting all, like, don't buy me a book. And then he was perfect. He talked to the store owner, the bookshop seller. The seller, what do you call them? And he bought me Anne Cleeve's The Seagull. And this is part of a series. She highly recommended it. I had never heard of it. But I had heard of Shetland, the TV show. Well, this is the same author as that series called Shetland. And I don't know too much about it, but it seems interesting. She did say you could read them not in order. You could go not in order. So it says, obsession never dies. A visit to her local prison brings Detective Inspector Vera Stanhope face to face with an old enemy. Former detective superintendent and now inmate John Brace, he is willing to tell Vera where the body of a missing person is buried in return for protection for his family. That's all I'm going to read about that, but it sounds good. And I think he told her I really like William Kent Krueger books, and so that is why she recommended this book. So if you like William Kent Krueger, you might like this series as well. All right, for TV and movies, I think I only have one episode left of Eric, which is ridiculous that I don't have them all done by now. But I'm really liking that. If you like kind of dark, gritty, little odd shows, you would like it. And it's Benedict Cumberbatch. It takes place in the 80s in New York City and just kind of gritty. His son disappears and he's kind of losing his mind, and it's just really good. Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing in it. And then, have you guys watched Dancing with the Devil? I started watching it. I love dancing. I have a tattoo that says on my foot that says 5, 6, 7, 8. People joke at work, is that your social security number? Anyway, I love dance. I was always a dancer growing up, and so I started that show, and then I realized I watch those videos on YouTube all the time. If you have not watched it, watch it. It is about two sisters, one of which, they're both dancers and they have a YouTube channel, TikTok, and then the one sister kind of gets started with this cult. And watch it, and then watch some of the stuff on YouTube, the aftermath of the show. So this family is just trying to get their sister back and out of this cult. And if you watch any sort of dance videos, you probably know this dance organization or the videos that they produce. Highly recommend. I don't typically watch reality shows or anything like that, but this one was amazing, especially if you like dance and even YouTube. And then the other one I started, there's only 2 episodes released so far, and that is Presumed Innocent. It is on the Apple Plus TV. It is with Jake Gyllenhaal. And then his brother, I can't think of his name right now. I'll post a picture here. It's his brother-in-law. He's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal, I believe. He's in it as well. And then the guy, I don't know his name, but I love him, everything he's in. He was in The Night Of, which you've never watched that. You should go watch that. I like him as well. So those are the actors in it. And it is a remake of the movie Presumed Innocent back in the, it was either 80s or 90s with Harrison Ford. It is based on a book. Definitely some infidelity, trigger warnings. If that bothers you, do not watch it. But it is really holding my attention, and I can't wait for the next episode to be released. And then we started watching Wrexham. We have 2 episodes to finish this latest season that was released. Welcome to Wrexham. And that show makes me cry every episode. And I'm like, no, don't do this to me. But it is so good. Oh, it just warms my heart, that show. I love it. The editors of that show and then the editors of The Bear, like, they should go do some sort of competition for editing, because their editing in both is on fire. So those are what I watched and what I have going on for TV and movies. What I did, we played trivia. It was just my husband and I. My friend couldn't make it. And we placed 4th out of like 9 or 10 teams, so which wasn't too bad, which is the 2 of us, because the winning teams have like 5, 6 people on them. We didn't do too bad. And then we played pickleball. We hadn't played in a long time. And I am so out of shape. Just so out of shape. But I love playing pickleball, and it gets me to have little bursts of, exercise. So I love pickleball. And then plans for this coming week. Today is Father's Day, like I said, and we are going to do a Low Country Boil later on this evening. My husband and my stepson are out for a motorcycle ride right now. They'll probably be gone for quite a while. They have quite the route they want to take. And yeah, so it's a good Father's Day. My dad is in the next room next to me napping. So it's a good Father's Day. And then we're probably going to play trivia again this week. And then also our anniversary, our 14th wedding anniversary is this week. So hopefully we'll do something fun to celebrate. I'm sure I will post it on my vlog. I do have a vlog. I'll probably release it tomorrow, I'm thinking. And yeah, so there you go. That is my weekly reading recap. So we're getting to the end of the first half of 2024. What's your favorite book you've read the first 6 months of 2024? I would have to say The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hill is one of them. The Frozen River is another, and The Book of Lost Names is probably the third. Those are my top 3 so far. Braiding Sweetgrass. Okay, this is going to be a hard favorite year. I'm having a fantastic reading year. It's amazing, but I'm very specific. I've learned now what I like and don't like. I need to stop picking up fantasy and mostly just read literary fiction. And so there we go. And some dark stuff, because that helps my book slumps, is when I kind of switch up the genres a little bit. So there you go. Hope you guys have a good week, and I will chat with you soon.